few cities or countries can make the statement that they are the continent's financial and trade hub as boldly or as with much justification as Singapore. Sheikh Mohamed bin Zayed is visiting Singapore this week, with the UAE sharing a lot of similarities with the island city-state. Getty Many countries like to claim that they are the gateway to Southeast Asia. Few can make that statement as boldly or as with much justification, however, as Singapore. It is not just the wide range of trade agreements to which the tiny island state is signed up. Inhabitants of the Little Red Dot, an initially disparaging term that has been adopted with pride by Singaporeans, can also point to laurels awarded by an array of international institutions. They are first in the world for human capital, a measure of the economic worth of a person's skills, according to the World Bank's Human Capital Index 2018, and top in Asia for effective governance and enforcement of the rule of law, according to the World Justice Project's Rule of Law Index 2018. They were also named as the second easiest country in the world to do business by the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business Index 2019. The state's real strength is that the business of Singapore has always been business, and not just in the last 50 years or so when its remarkably speedy development led China to see what lessons it could learn from them. Singapore's long-term Prime Minister, the late Lee Kuan Yew, was a sage whose counsel was sought by leaders from Henry Kissinger to Margaret Thatcher and Barack Obama. Raffles did not discover Singapore any more than Christopher Columbus discovered America. By the time Raffles arrived in 1819, Singapore already had hundreds of years of history, said the current Prime Minister and son of Mr. Lee, Lee Hsien Loong, in a speech to mark the bicentenary of Sir Stamford Raffles founding a British trading port on the island in 1819. He pointed to the existence of a thriving seaport in the 14th century, and how the European traders who arrived in later centuries reported on its strategic location to their masters back home. This was a historical legacy that had to be turbocharged when Singapore became independent in 1965. The country had to look inward, to its own people, and outward, even more so, to trade with the world. A former provost of the United Arab Emirates University, Wyatt Hume, later observed, "No one has ever done state-guided capitalism better." GDP per capita increased from just over $500 DH 1,800 in 1965 to nearly $58,000 in 2017, and however these figures are measured, Singapore regularly makes lists of the wealthiest countries in the world. A small country that punches well above its weight internationally, and with its status as a regional financial and innovation hub with a multicultural population, it is no wonder that Arabian Gulf states have long taken an interest in Singapore's experience. Its long-term stability, lack of corruption, highly skilled workforce and good governance continue to earn it a competitive edge that gives it good reason to use the term gateway to Asia. In geopolitical terms, Singapore has also played an astute game. In 1967 it was one of the founding members of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, an intergovernmental cooperation group. There have been bumps along the way in relations with China, however, Beijing is said to be increasingly unhappy about Singapore's strong defense ties with the US. But overall, Singapore will aim to continue to pursue a policy of strategic balance. Its success in doing so means the state was chosen as the location for the first summit between President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un last June. In the longer term, the grip of the ruling People's Action Party, PAP, which has never lost power, looks to be not quite as certain as it used to be. Now, the country remains a leading partner in the region and beyond, and a natural ally of Abu Dhabi and the UAE, thanks with similar views on stability, moderation and tolerance. Updated February 28, 2019, 2:50 p.m.